Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll, your favorite social media podcast. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about engagement. And so I have my whole personal philosophy about engagement, especially when it comes to my done for you clients. I don't love managing engagement for my clients. I don't. I've started to not include it in my contracts because it feels inauthentic. And engagement, we know, is kind of one of those big things, big parts of any social media strategy that often gets a little neglected because a lot of business owners think that, oh, I'm outsourcing my marketing, I don't have to be engaged. I call BS. And I have clients who are super engaged on their social media, and I have others that just aren't. And the ones that are not, you can see the difference in growth. You can see the difference. Listen, social media is called social media because it's supposed to be social. So we have to be engaged in some way, shape, or form. Like, even if it's the same 10 accounts, the platform sees that you are engaged. And so it's going to see that your content is worthy, like your account is worthy, you're engaged, you're using the platform, you're not just posting and ghosting. It is a way through engagement to turn meaningful conversations into customers. A few months ago, I had a guest on here, and I will link to the episode with Lauren, who is my kind of sales and lead gen coach. Like, after her episode with me, I hired her, and because I love her philosophy on lead generation and how it's all about building relationships. And that is what social media engagement is about. It's about building relationships. And if you don't have, I have clients that they're like, well, my clients aren't really here, or I don't really engage with them, blah, 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 whatever the excuse is. And there's a whole litany of excuses that I could go through. If you're involved in your community, engage with the community organizations that you support. Engage with your local chamber. Like, it's all visibility. It's all about building those relationships, and it's all about showing up. So leaving comments on other accounts, that's you being visible. That's you reaching out. That's you building the conversation and building the relationship. So engagement matters because we know that posts that get engagement have higher reach. All social media platforms favor posts with high engagement. They just do. That's just... If your post has no comments, likes, reactions, whatever, you're there. That's step one. And to some of my clients, I say, well, you have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you run. And, even though I don't do the traditional outbound engagement like other social media agencies that I know do, I still am always popping into accounts. I'll share things on stories. I will reshare a post if hey, this reel's not really performing. Let me share it to stories. And let me go, even for my most engaged customer, if I post a reel manually, I'm going to go and I'm going to like a few posts. I might comment on a few posts because I know that it matters. And so just some statistics by platform. And I know a lot of people don't really care about statistics, but I do because I believe that numbers paint the story of why engagement matters. So on average, LinkedIn has a 2 to 3% engagement rate. I will say most of my clients who are on LinkedIn have upwards of a 10 to 14% engagement rate. Video posts on LinkedIn get 5% more engagement than just text and just images. Instagram, the average engagement rate is less than 1%. The info that I have says that Reels get more engagement. However, recent trends have shown that carousels are getting more engagement. So carousels and Reels, we're going to say, do better than static posts. I've also seen that if you are more active on stories, maybe posting 1 to 2, 3 stories a day and kind of letting them reset before. So post your story and the early part of the day, let it kind of go away, and then post maybe in the afternoon the next day. Like, let your stories reset. When you're active on stories, you tend to get more engagement on your posts. Anecdotally, like, don't quote me on that, but that's what I've seen anecdotally across my clients. Like, when my clients are a little bit more active in stories, like, I see that their posts are getting a little bit more engagement. So Facebook organic reach is, and this is why I say that Facebook is a dumpster fire. I'm going to refrain from dropping any F-bombs in this episode. I don't want to have to be marked as explicit, but holy HE double hockey sticks. Organic reach on Facebook. So think about if you have 1,000 followers on a Facebook page. Organic reach, so meaning the number of accounts that your post is being seen by, is 0.06% to 0.15%. That makes comments and sharing so crucial for any Facebook strategy. And that's also why a lot of people invest in ads, like basic brand awareness ads. I had a chat with one of my clients today, and he's like, yeah, like, we just have this brand awareness ad just always running, which is great. I was like, when was the last time you checked that? Because I also know that, like, with Facebook ads, like, the more like per person views or something, like, Facebook starts to devalue the ad. So kind of want to make sure that you're refreshing your content so that they're not just seeing the same thing all the time. So the big question that I had this week, I forget who I was talking with about this, was if we know from a social media strategy perspective that engagement boosts your reach, and reach, is how you reach more customers. It builds your brand awareness. It builds engagement. It, does all the things that we want social media to do. How do we boost engagement? So I have some tips that I've researched. And so we're going to go through some engagement strategies for LinkedIn, for Instagram, and for Facebook. And we're just going to, chat a little bit about each platform. So on LinkedIn, one of the biggest ways, because we know that people like questions and they don't like to be sold to. It's a professional network. Like, we're not selling. Ask those open-ended questions. Here's the thing. People on LinkedIn are more receptive, I believe, to kind of the thought leadership-y type content. They want to have conversations about industry-relevant content. So instead of just broadcasting content, like, try to start discussions. Using native video and document posts tend to get more engagement. So like the carousel PDFs that you sometimes see on LinkedIn, which I thought went away, but they have not. They have not. And also, and this is kind of a strategy that a lot of social media experts say, and I kind of it's kind of meh for me. The research that I did kind of suggested, like, engage with like 3 to 5 posts before you post to increase visibility in your feed. However, if you are scheduling your content, that's not always possible. And I find that it doesn't matter when you engage with content. Like, I might schedule something for LinkedIn at like 3 o'clock later in the afternoon. But like, if I'm engaged on the platform around like 5 o'clock, which is towards the end of the day when I tend to be engaged with LinkedIn, my posts will often still do fine. So, I mean, there's always research that's going to say, oh, this is the best time to post. But like I say, post when you post, because posting when you post is better than not posting at the ideal posting time. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're like, oh no, I didn't post at 7 o'clock this morning, I'm not going to show up, I'm just going to wait until tomorrow to post. Like, no, post when you post. We know the lifespan of a post is not super long. I think like the lowest is like 14 hours and it's on Facebook. But your content's not going to be seen if you don't post it at all. If you just like straight up are like, I can't post today. Like, posting something is better than nothing. And yes, everyone needs a strategy, but again, crawl before you walk, walk before you run. Sometimes crawling is just posting whenever you can flip and post. That's just a fact. And you grow and you evolve and you grow and you start to implement those strategy best practices, and eventually, like, things take off. Like, that's just fact, man. That's just fact. So another big strategy that I have seen that has really helped some of my clients is tagging relevant people. When you tag someone, one, it shows up on their feed. So you have a whole opportunity to reach a whole other audience. don't spam tag. Like, I have a client who goes to a lot of events and she likes to tag everyone that she talks to, which is great, but it can come off as a little spammy sometimes. Just saying. So they do have a limit on how many people you can tag in a post on LinkedIn. I have met that limit before for this client, but she's still growing. And those posts where she tags like the people that she spoke with at an event, like they still are some of the top performing posts. So there is something to be said about tagging people that are in your industry, that you have relationships with, all that kind of fun stuff. Just don't be spammy about it. For Instagram, like I said, use your stories, not strategies. Use your stories daily because they keep you top of mind. Stories are more engaged with by your followers than they are non-followers, but people who post at least once a day on stories tend to have their content seen because people are more likely to engage with stories. Because that's how I see the people that I follow. We all know that Instagram's algorithm is garbage and it serves us up crap that we're not following. I want to see the people that I follow. Yes, they have the following feed now. You can tag your favorites. You can see the people that you're following, not always in chronological order. So you might see a post that you've already seen from a week ago that's not relevant anymore. Those stories, I love stories. I love stories for sharing the behind the scenes, for sharing the wins, for sharing all the fun things. But they also offer engagement tools, and they also offer opportunities to do a little research, to do a little engagement with some maybe colder leads, people who are engaging with your content that maybe weren't even on your radar. You can use polls, you can use questions, you can use quizzes, you can find all of that information. Reply to your DMs and reply to your comments. Engagement like that signals to the algorithm that when your content is valuable. If someone sends you a DM because of a post or a DM because of a story, oh, this person's really valuable, respond quickly. I use the do not disturb feature on my phone a lot, but I try to pick up my phone every so often. I'm in the social media world. I can't turn off. Oh man, I just saw a friend of mine on Facebook respond to an event about there's all these boycotts, and I fully support boycotts. I've made my politics very clear. I've made my values very clear. If you listen to the podcast, you probably know that. So I'm recording this the day before everyone's oh, boycott Amazon, boycott blah blah blah, which I will be doing. And I will tell you, I rescheduled a vaccine at Target for the weekend so that I didn't have to go to Target on Friday. Proud of myself. But so I saw this post about a friend responded to an event that she was interested in boycotting Meta for a whole week. And I was well, I can't do that. How can I, a social media manager who logs in multiple times a day for myself, for my clients, I cannot. That is not possible. That is not doable. Nope. If you want to boycott Meta, though, you go, girl. So there is also other ways that you can be engaged and garner engagement on Instagram. You can use notes. I personally haven't really dove into the notes feature. I kind of should. I probably should. I don't see a lot of people using it though. I do know a couple people that have broadcast channels. So if you really want to have an engaged section and do some really cool content for your clients, there are some people that I know that have really great broadcast channels. And if you want to know who they are fantastic, you can just send me a message and I will share my favorite broadcast channels with you. Some of them you have to pay for, which that feels a little icky to me. But we also know that, reels and carousels tend to get more engagement. So make sure that you're posting those regularly. I saw something in a post when I was researching this that said, ask followers to drop an emoji if you agree. No, don't do that. That is clickbaity. The algorithm knows that is not meaningful conversation. Those are not meaningful contents, and it's going to be a little bit bait and switchy. And the algorithm has gotten smart to that. There are ways to garner engagement. ManyChat is a great tool to garner engagement, especially if you're trying to build a list or trying to capture emails or whatever, driving to a website. That is something that I would recommend over, oh, drop a comment, drop an emoji if you agree. Like, meh. Just ask the question, like, do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, leave a comment. People will tell you, like, people will share their opinions. Also, engage with other accounts in your niche. Engage with other, industry leaders. Engage with, especially, like, be where your audience is. I have a lot of social media experts that I follow, and I engage with them because, one, like, everyone's following them because they're expertise. And, oh, hey, this person, like, that is how you build followers. And I have gained followers that are, other small business owners. And I've made friends with other social media experts. Like, it's not a bad best practice. There are best practices out there that are trash. They're probably dated best practices, but commenting, liking, sharing posts from industry leaders, from your customers, from your clients, sharing their wins is like, that's engagement 101. Like, that is the bare minimum that you should be doing. Finally on Facebook, oh God, is it terrible of me as a social media manager to say that I hate Facebook? Maybe it's just because I've been on it for 2 decades. I've been on Facebook since April of 2004. I was the first of my friends to be on Facebook back when we used it to literally, like, stalk people that lived down the hall from us, or, find that cute dude who worked for the newspaper and start a conversation with him. Like, literally that shit that my friends and I did on Facebook back in 2004. Now, granted, we've talked about this, Mark Zuckerberg has bad history for why he started the Facebook, but whatever. I do like a lot of aspects of Facebook, especially from the community aspect. Like, there are so many, and I'm gonna share something here. I'm gonna share. Y'all are gonna be privy to some new information. So in April, I'm launching a small group marketing consulting program where we're going to spend 3 months. We're going to deep dive into all things marketing strategy, all the things, and get you set up for success. And one of the ways that I plan on interacting with my group is through hopefully either a Facebook group or a Slack channel, because I believe in the power of community. And I have a client who has an amazing community, and that community that she built has been so, like, there are so many women in business in that community that I have seen grow, that have helped me grow. So, like, the power of community is big on Facebook. So if you have a community, like, start a Facebook group. It's still really hard because, the thing about social media, and I had to remind someone that I was speaking with about marketing earlier this week, is that, and we know this because I've said this so many times, is that social media is rented space. We do not control who and when see our content. And that's true even if you have a Facebook group of, 500, 5,000, 50,000 people. Like, there is no way that you will interact with all of those people. But it is a great way to build a community, to share exclusive content to those people, to reply to, even just like replying to comments and starting conversations. Like, it's just a way to get people engaged and to stay top of mind. I love on Facebook when people share user-generated content and testimonials. Like, when when I see my clients tagged in content from their clients, like, that's a huge win for me. And that shows that connectivity to the brand. So when people tag me, when I tag other businesses that I work with, or when I tag clients that I'm really excited that I get to spend time with in person, like, those are ways that, like, you build that engagement on Facebook. Facebook is so community driven. Like, any way that you can build and showcase that community that you have around your brand on Facebook is 200% a win. So Facebook events, going live on Facebook, that tends to generally garner a lot of engagement. Creating those events and inviting your audience. My business association that's local here in Maryland, they are always sharing events. So that's another great way to really, really garner engagement on Facebook. As far as like the outbound engagement, like, how do you engage off of your own posts? How do you build that community outside of your own network? I say that it really comes down to that, like, those authentic and thoughtful comments. Instead of saying, like, great post, like, say something like, oh, I love your take on blah, blah, blah. Have you noticed a difference in yada, yada, yada? Being engaged in Facebook groups, Instagram threads is a whole big thing. And I haven't even talked about threads. I haven't been super active on there. I am active on there. I like to kind of feel things out before I feel confident enough to talk about them. But there is tons of content from other social media experts who have done the deep dives into threads and who have had results. If you're not there, like, personally, threads reminds me of Twitter from 2007. Back when people were unabashedly authentic and conversational and build those connections so authentically because you're just having conversations. So that's how you become a trusted voice in your industry. That is how you build that quote unquote thought leadership. You can also, send personalized DMs, like send a DM through LinkedIn, send a DM through Instagram. I find that I tend to miss a lot of Facebook Messenger messages because they get filtered to my other folder. But be authentic. Like, hey, I really love that content. Oh, what did you think about that restaurant? Engage with the stories, send messages. And in my podcast that is going to be linked with Lauren, she talks about this and how engagement doesn't always have to be looking for something or looking to convert. It can be as simple as oh my God, I've been wanting to go to that restaurant forever. If someone posts about a restaurant, it can be something as simple as if there's a poll, oh, hey, I've always wanted to do that. I sent a message to a former client of mine because she was doing research on, she does retreats, and she did a poll on where people would like to see a retreat. She's going on one in Central America in the spring. And I responded and I was just like, hey, I have another client who does this in Italy. Let me know if you want me to connect you. And engagement is, it shouldn't feel icky. That is my biggest takeaway about engagement, is it should not feel icky. If your engagement, if how you engage with your followers and your audience and the people that you want to become into your audience feels icky, you're probably doing it wrong. It should not feel icky. Finally, support your network. Share people's content. I shared a post recently from one of my clients because her community is amazing. And it's one of my favorite communities to be a part of other business owners. Hands down, one of my favorite places to be. You can also use your Explore tab. You can search for topics. If there's people that you're looking for specifically, just engage in a way that doesn't feel icky. Be authentic. Just be authentic. Finally, final thoughts. Here's my challenge for you. And it's going to be a challenge for me too. I'm going to take this engagement challenge. And if you are a listener, I want you to engage with me. Tell me that you're a listener. I want to find you. I want to engage with your content. Engagement goes both ways. I challenge you for 1 week. Engage on 5 industry-related posts each day. 5 posts. 5 posts each day. I want you to send a thoughtful DM to someone whose content you admire each day, 1 per day. Whether it's someone that you'd like to work with, whether it's someone in your industry, just send a thoughtful DM. Find and engage with an industry-related group. See if there's a group out there that could be a referral source. Find other like-minded businesses. If you want some of my local to Anne Arundel County, Maryland groups that I am a part of, I'm happy to share them. Just send me a message. But find and engage in a group. I check some of my most active groups that I'm in. I check them once a day. I try to engage with a couple of posts, try to be active, but find those spaces for you where your audience is. All right, this has gotten really long. I appreciate everyone who's listened. I'm going to share this challenge on my Instagram stories, and send me a DM if you're up for the challenge. We can hold each other accountable. We can be accountability buddies. As always, subscribe to the podcast if you love what you're hearing. Share the episode. Leave a review. That is the best way to help podcasters like myself grow and find more people, is to subscribe and review. I appreciate all feedback that you leave. And if you want any help with your social media strategy, including talking about engagement, identifying who you should be engaging with, send me a message. I'm happy to schedule a strategy session. And if you're interested in this small group consulting that I'm launching in April, it is going to kick off end of April, and it comes with a free 90-minute strategy session included in the package. I'm only accepting between 5 and 10 people. So if you are interested, send me a message. I don't have a landing page up yet. I'm trying to do it organically in network and not do a sales page, because sometimes sales pages to me they overdo it. I don't know. That's just me. I'm a little non-traditional of a marketer if you haven't gathered that. But I'm keeping it small. This is kind of a beta launch, and I'm really, really excited about it. So if you are interested, send me a message. And as always, feel free to connect with me at Heidi Schmidt Creative on Instagram. In the meantime, go forth, create amazing content, and engage with other amazing content. Until next time.